Hello, I'm Patrick Toomey, guest makeup artist from Merle Norman Cosmetics, and today I'm going to show you how to do the smoky aubergine eye. The smoky eye is really popular amongst the Hollywood celebrities and all the models I usually work with. So what I'm going to emphasize today is I'm going to use a little bit more of the color around the eyes and less on the brow. So the emphasis is more on the eye itself. I'm going to finish off with a little bit of like a soft pink gloss and then a highlight of a pink blush so it harmonizes the entire color together. So to begin with this look, our main goal is to make sure the skin is flawless and finished. To achieve a flawless finish, I found the #1 brush by Merle Norman is absolutely amazing. You can either use it dry or wet, and I used a lot with liquid base, but today I love the purely mineral pressed makeup. It goes on like silk, and you really not are wearing that much makeup and base at all. To start this look, we're going to start with the brows, which I call the frames of the face. I'm going to use one of my favorite brushes, which is the Merle Norman Brow #1. It has two tools in one. An applicator, which gives you a sculpted angle to apply the brow powder with, and then the wand, which definitely gives a more sparse and evenly distributed effect on the eyebrows. I begin by using a natural brow powder with the angled tip of the brush, with light strokes along the hairline itself. I emphasize a lot on the brow at the tip, making sure that it's not too heavy and too dramatic. With the angle of the brush, a light swoop on the top is all you need to finish the angle of the tail. Now I'm going to teach you a trick. I learned that when I did the brow, you want to make sure that you start at a certain angle so it doesn't look too long or too short. So I use the brush itself, and I usually start with the bridge of your nose, and that's where the brow should begin. Then, to make sure where the brow would end, you just simply turn the brush itself, keeping this end tight. That's where it ends. Once the brow is completely sculpted and brushed, I like to finish it with the brow sealer. Light tiny strokes to hold the hair down. It's clear too, so it won't leave any residue. The next step we're going to do is we're actually going to put a prime base on the eyelid so the eyeshadows will lock. That gives the eyeshadow some grab and blendability because we're going to multi-layer different colors on top of each other. I'm using the face brush #6, which is a flat base brush for applying liquids or anything that's more creamier. It gives a nice application. The Lasting Cream eyeshadow, which is in Sweet Sorbet, I just put a light amount because a little goes so much around the eye area. I like to put a light saturation on the entire lid and just saturate the brush, taking the excess amount off, and start at the entire tear duct. That gives more of a lucid, kind of like a luminous effect. Anything that's light in the tear ducts of the eye pulls the eyes out. This gives the other eyeshadow, which we're going to apply, more of a blendability, and it locks the full saturation of the color itself. So we're going to begin with the aubergine smoky eye now. I'm going to give you some tips. There's 3 steps to it, and basically with the eyeshadow, there are 4 primary colors. We're not going to use all of them. So I'm just going to show you how to utilize the highlighter, the contour, and the color saturation. So I'm going to begin with my favorite brush, eyes #4. And light strokes on the brow bone with the pink quartz eyeshadow from the Winter Eyes #1 eye quad. Just light, delicate strokes on the brow bone. This is just basically to give a little of a wash of a color. Light back and forth strokes. Highlighting brings out the forehead, anything that's dark that pushes in for contouring. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to give the reflective look on the ball of the eye, which kind of gives it more of like a 3-dimensional effect. Shy Violet is one of the colors I used on the ball of the eye, and using brush eyes #2, just a light pat of it. Light circular touches. Make sure not to get the tear ducts because you have the highlighter. This is actually going to give a little bit more depth in the crease of the eye itself. Using a more of a violet base eyeshadow brings out a lot of the clarity in your eye. And it's amazing to use actually after a long day of shopping or if you're tired. It gives you much more of a brighter effect. Now the third step is basically what we're going to do is I'm going to teach you a trick how to contour and shape the eye. This will marry the entire color palette together using the aubergine color, which is more of a matte because you notice the other colors have more of an iridescent and a more luminous effect. I use two brushes for this. The first brush I use is eyes number 4. So what I do is I get the aubergine, and I begin at the corner of the eye itself. Right at the corner of the eye itself, and work yourself out in a tiny V, and then into the brow bone. With that done, I use eyes number 3, which is a maxi blender. Notice the angle is a little bit more pointed. Start in the corner of the eye, and just light buffing effect. Blending it through with the highlighter. Using the matte shadow, it prevents any of the lining or the creping, any signs of aging or so. Look up, please. Now with the rest of the eyeshadow itself, bring it completely down. So what you're doing is you're interlocking the entire eyeshadow itself. So I'm going to complete the other eye using brush eyes number 4. Again, we begin with the angled brush using the aubergine eyeshadow with a slight V effect. But I found a little trick that I did before. Sometimes the aubergine is such a saturated color, I use a tissue and I fold it in half. Please look up and close your eye. With the friction, it may cause some fallout. But using the brush itself and the tissue, it helps you, giving you more of a sculpted effect while preventing fallout of the aubergine darker shade under the eye. Then it gives you a guideline to blend directly under. The V technique of using the eyeshadow itself, which anchors the more highlighted effect, gives the eye much more of an anchored effect, and it pulls up the face itself, so it gives much more of a younger effect. Also notice with the plums, she had brown eyes, but actually with the wine undertone, it brings out her eyes, so it makes her eyes actually lighter. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Color Max eye pencil in Plum Surprise. With the color flex in it, it's designed not to give such a definite line itself. We're trying to give it more of a smudgier airbrush effect, which kind of goes with the smoky effect that we're going for. So what I do is I begin with the corner of the eye itself and light tiny strokes, not a direct line itself. Blend it through, and it's a creamy formulation. So it blends in. Notice the different color saturations in aubergine and purple that I'm trying to infuse over here. Make sure that you link at the bottom of the eye and work it at the root of the lash itself. Now that we have the eyes completely smoked, contoured, and highlighted, we finish it off with a mascara. With the ultra thick mascara in black, I apply a generous amount on the top and bottom. With the remaining amount of the mascara on the tip of the mascara wand, I learned a trick. Just take a look up to the ceiling please, and just go back and forth. Whatever is remaining on the wand itself will lock onto the lash, giving you more of a smudgier effect. But with the eye being such a strong focus, I emphasize a lot on blush. Now, I'm going to show you a way of using blush more than just on this cheek itself, because blush is actually more of a warmer effect on the forehead, the cheekbones, and the jawline. I'm going to sweep the lasting cheek color of Gypsy Rose completely all over her face as a contour. So I'm using one of my brushes that I love to use, which is face number 4. I start with the cheekbone and go along the jawline, and then I continue with the other cheekbone, repeating the same technique. But I found a lot of the styles right now is to use blush in many, many ways, not like just the bronzer, but it adds more warmth along the forehead. And then as a final touch, I just bring the blush right over the bridge of the nose to give like that very cute windburn effect. And to finish the look, I like to put a clean sweep of lip polish in Mademoiselle. It gives it much more of an innocent, sweet look. And a tip, for more mature skin, some concealer dabbed first over the lip will help the lip gloss from not traveling or smearing around as much. And this is our smoky aubergine eye look.